Hi there. Today I'm gonna give you a quick update on a product that I developed over a year ago, a product that turned out to be quite popular in the M3, M4 community, and it's these mud flaps. When I first posted the video about it about a year ago, I was expecting a lot of backlash, but a lot of you ended up liking it to the point that you've emailed me and said, hey, can you make me a set? And I did. And you know what, it just made me really happy that my creation has become so popular. And I just have to put a disclaimer there. I do not make a ton of money. Actually, making these is extremely time consuming because I have to cut them by hand, and it's just I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it for the pleasure of doing it. But today I actually have an update. I created an upgraded version of the front, and I finally came up with a solution for the back. Before I go any further, let me show you the benefit of these mud flaps. So let's start with the wheels. Actually, see, the wheels are filthy. I just came back from a weekend trip to Pennsylvania, and actually the car is ceramic coated, so the dirt doesn't stick, but you can see these mud flaps. Look at all the dirt that has accumulated on these. This is the dirt that would typically stick to your door, but in our case, look how clean the door is. The side is clean, and even the rear quarter panel, look how clean it is. So what these mud flaps do is they prevent most of the dirt that's kicking up from the front tires to be splattered on the side of the car and the rear quarter panel. This is especially important for vehicles that have spacers. So when your tires are spaced out, obviously they stick out a lot more. That means a lot of surface area sticks out from the body of the car, which means more stones are getting kicked up onto your car. And when I first came up with these, I only created them for the front. I didn't create them for the back because there was no easy way for me to attach these. But ever since then, I actually came up with a solution, and this is the solution that I created for the back. As you can see, again, they stick out just a little bit, but they keep the back of the car a lot cleaner. And when I first designed these front mud flaps, I designed them utilizing these bottom rivets as well as this anti-flapping screw. However, after driving with these mud flaps for about a year, what happens sometimes is the top gets sort of bent out of shape and it sticks out. Again, it doesn't affect the performance or the function, but it doesn't look the part. To those of you who have purchased these from me, the easy solution is you clean this area really well, get some double-sided tape, you stick it, and I just unstuck it, but it sticks pretty well, and that's one easy solution. So to those of you who purchase these, you don't have to purchase them again. However, I have now created an upgraded version, and this is it. This is a version that is almost identical in shape to these. However, it extends all the way up to utilize 1, 2, 3 rivets, as well as this anti-flapping screw. That way you'll never have any issues with this top part sticking out. And also, this old design had some sort of a logo on the inside that obviously gets covered up as you drive the car. However, this design is completely black, doesn't have any logos, and is pretty much reversible. You can run it on this side, or you can flip it and run it on the other side. Installing the fronts is actually very easy. What you need is some sort of a hole punch, or even a nail, just a regular nail, and you punch these rivets in. There we go. And then this one, you take them out. You don't really need to hold on to them because in my kit I give you these replacement rivets, as well as I give you this anti-flapping screw. So let us quickly compare the sizes of version 1 and version 2. Version 1 is in the front, and then version 2 is in the back. Pretty much the same size. Again, what's inside doesn't really matter because it's the outside that really protects you. And as you can see, these are longer, so they sit a lot better. Now, one thing to note is the following. These mud flaps are custom made by me. I cut them by hand. I actually spend a lot of time doing it. It's extremely time consuming. And because of the fact that I do cut them by hand, every one of them is different. And not that they're not perfect, but obviously they'll have, let's say, minor imperfections. Like there's a little hair hanging over here that you might want to take out. I do sand the edges. I always want to make sure that this is perfectly round, or as round as possible. But when you do get these from me, I don't want you thinking that these are stamped by some sort of a big machine that makes a perfect design. No, they'll have minor imperfections, imperfections that will not be seen once you put them on the car. And an example of an imperfection here is, I hope the camera can pick it up. You see there's a little edge here, there's a tiny bump here. I call that an imperfection. If this is something that you cannot live with, do not buy them. But if this is something that you can potentially live with and have something that protects your car, then these are the mud flaps for you. And as I mentioned earlier, I do give you these rivets that are specifically made for these cars, and I also give you this self-tapping screw that you use here in the bottom to screw into the liner. The way to do it is the following. You line it up, make sure the holes match. In this case I know they do because I measured it. You put the rivet in, put the second rivet in, and you put the top rivet in. And the next step is, again, super easy. You hammer these in. Now, a lot of you have emailed me saying that you broke them while hammering them in. That's why I always include 2 extras. But in this case, you want to press it in as much as possible and just be gentle with it. Just but hammer it straight until it goes in. You can do it. Come on. See? There you go. Tap it until it goes in. Now, if you don't install the bottom screw, this is what's going to happen. You're going to hear that flapping, hence the anti-flapping screw. Tighten it, and there you have it. They will not make any noise. This is the new design of my front mud flaps for the M3. They fit very well. They start all the way up top. There's no way they can start sticking off now because they're held by 3 rivets. And then here at the bottom we have that screw. As you can see from the side, they look pretty much the same, except that they reach a bit higher. Now, for the most part, having just the front is probably what you want to do. However, to those of you who want to have complete protection front and back, let me show you how to install the rear ones. Now, keep in mind that installing the rear ones is a lot more involved. You have to take the wheel off and you have to drill screws into the fender liner. No big deal, but let me show you how it's done. So the wheel is off, and then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be screwing the mud flap into this plastic liner. Now I hope the camera can pick it up, but these are all the test holes that I've done. So my liner is kind of beat up, but I did it for your benefit. And here's the kicker. I've realized that you can mount these only using 2 screws. If you place them in the appropriate spots, and these are the 2 spots, they'll sit nice and tight. Now, when I send these to you, they're going to be pre-drilled with these holes, and I'm going to include the screws. But how do you know how to align them up or down? Great question. Each one of these flaps on the outside will have a tiny line etched in here, tiny line here, and a tiny line here and here that tells you approximately how to align them against the bumper. And this is what I mean. You have a line here. This line aligns approximately with the line of the bumper, and you have a line that goes here and here. So basically you want to align with the bottom of the bumper and then this upper edge. When I say approximately, it's because these are custom installed. So if you want, actually, you might be able to shift it either down, outwards, or maybe shift them down a little bit. It's totally up to you. For my liking, this is the line that I came up with, and this is sort of the approximate spacing. that I'm comfortable with. So what I first do is I put it in this hole and I align it with the outside lines, and once I'm happy with the alignment, I press them in. It's important that you press them in because that's how they're gonna sit. They're not sitting straight, they're not sitting up in the air. You wanna press them against the liner. Why do you wanna do that? Is because during the winter driving, you don't want any snow accumulating in the back and ripping them off. So the lines on the outside match with the lines of the bumper. Let me just double check. Bring them higher. I'm actually going to push mine out slightly out. So I'm going to have about a 1/4 of an inch gap. So I'm going to push them out, and then while holding my finger, you put the screw in. Do not be afraid to drill into this liner because it's sturdy. One screw is in, the next screw goes up here. And there you have it. This is pretty easy. It's not that you think about it, it's actually straightforward. And look at it. This is nice and sturdy. Because of the fact that it's bent, it actually sits tighter. And all you need are just these 2 screws. It's that simple. Well, let's take a look at it one more time before we put the wheel on. So this is your wheel well, and this is your mud flap. It kind of scoops in. You might have a little gap here, but because these are curved, there's nothing really that you can do about it. But on the inside, you have these 2 screws. That's all you need. Do not drill in this area. This area has a metal panel behind it. Ask me how I know. You see this guide line that's right over here, about a 1/4 of an inch from the fender. This is what you want to adjust to. For me, I spaced it out just a bit more aggressive to give me more of a protection, but it's totally up to you how you want to do it, how high or low. And with that said, we can put the wheel back on. And of course you want to torque your wheels. Alright, and we're all done, and let's look at it one more time. So let's look at the fitment from the back. I set it to what I call a more aggressive look. And you see that notch up top? This is sort of my point of reference. And they are fairly lined up with the camber of the tires. So even when you look at them from the back, they really blend in. From this angle, it looks to be curved, and it is curved, but that's the nature of the design. The way I see it, since it's curved this way, and it's going to scoop the water towards the inside, as opposed to pulling it on the outside. That's my amateurish aerodynamics here. And one more time from this angle, you can see sort of the inward curve. As it curves with the tire, it curves with the fender. So it looks very, very natural if you ask me. The front also blends in with the camber of the tire, and it's just, it flows also with the fender lines, so it's really almost not visible. And the other side obviously is the same. You've got this one here, and the one in the front. So I hope you found this video to be helpful. If you are interested in purchasing a set from me, you can email me at got6speed@gmail.com. Or I also linked it in the description below. As I mentioned earlier, keep in mind that because of the fact that the fronts are custom cut and drilled by me, the back are custom drilled by me, this kit is not 100% perfect, but it's pretty damn close. I take a lot of pride in creating this custom product for people who really care about keeping the cars clean and rock chip free. This is the solution I came up with. I really don't have to sell it, but I want to share the product with someone like you. Anyway, so let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. If you are... What? What's this? What's this? What? You want to help Daddy? Here, come here. Let's do it together. Okay. You have to pee-pee? We have to go pee-pee. Let's go pee-pee.